What's good, y'all? It's Drew here, back with another video. It's been a long time, but today I'm gonna do a hot takes video for y'all because I haven't done one in like damn near a year. So we're gonna jump right into it. Obviously, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for more anime content because we're on that weekly grind right now. You know what I'm saying? When we hit summer, we might be on that bi-weekly grind. So definitely check out the channel if you haven't already. Obviously, if you haven't already as well, hit up join the Discord. That's where I usually get my hot takes from. So if you want to join the anime community where we talk about shit, anything you want, you know, check out the Discord. So that's going to be in the description. But yeah, I'm going to jump right into it now. Shadow Heavy Weather, you know what I'm saying? That's the GOAT. Heavy's take is Shonen rescue arcs are almost always better than war arcs. And actually thinking about this now, this is definitely going to be a video. So be on the lookout for this. And I'm not going to lie, the nigga is spitting right now. He is spitting because I'm just thinking about arcs or at least anime that have both of them, that have both a rescue arc and a war arc, and just looking at overall, I think they're usually rated higher. So looking at, like, let's say Naruto, niggas do not like the war arc. I don't know if you noticed. That's not a hot take, but niggas love the Sasuke retrieval arc. Just kind of looking at it like that. I think that when it comes to rescue arcs, they tend to be less convoluted. They, like with war arcs, there's just so much ways for things to get too like complex and just so much shit happening. Like when a big problem with people in the war arc in Naruto is that too much shit was happening at one time. Like they need to slow it down, almost like decompress it. Whereas the retrieval arc, it's simple. The objective is to save this person or rescue them. That's like the objective. That's it. It's very, very simple. Whereas war arcs, it can go on for too long. Too much shit can be happening. But I'd say that shonen rescue arcs are more consistent, whereas war arcs at the high end could be peak. So I'm gonna use an example of like One Piece, because shout out Water 7, or I should say Enies Lobby, which a lot of people would look as like the Robin arc or the Robin rescue arc. I wouldn't have that arc above Marineford, but you could just see that most rescue arcs don't tend to be bad. You can even look at like Whole Cake Island, for instance, too. That was a good arc. Most of the time, I'd say the rescue arcs are better than war arcs, but there are a few times when, if done correctly, a war arc can be insane. So obviously, check that out, because I did also make a video on that too. You know what I'm saying? Shameless plug. War arcs, when done properly, I think can be the peak of shonen. So that's kind of what I think. Here's we have a hot take from Chosen. Shout out Chosen, that's a day one, and he has a hot take that I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if it's hot, but I agree with completely. And that's that Chainsaw Man isn't as good as people say. Now I know niggas are probably gonna kill me for this, because like just looking at like Chainsaw Man, and basically people love Chainsaw Man. It's a top tier series. And I remember when when it was only in the manga form at the time, people were saying it was the best new gen, and I was excited to read or watch it, and I kind of got to it and was, I'm not gonna lie, a little bored. Like I gave it a try. I was watching the anime, and I think I got up to like episode 6 or so, and that shit was not moving me. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I was not moved. It was just kind of boring. Like, I'm probably gonna give it another chance. I've given other series chances like this before. I'm probably gonna have to read it as opposed to watching it, but that's what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, Chainsaw, it was cool, but I wouldn't really like clamor for it being like the best shonen arc, kind of how people treated Chainsaw Man when it first came out. And yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna give it another chance, given that I've seen JJK and I've watched and read Hell's Paradise, and obviously Chainsaw Man, that makes up the three of the dark trio or whatever. So I'm definitely gonna have to give it a chance, see what it's looking like, maybe in the manga form. But as for the anime, I'm not gonna lie, Chainsaw Man was not moving me. So that nigga Chosen, he is spitting. So shout out CJ, the #1 hater in the verse. Yeah, CJ's hot take is that Demon Slayer. CJ actually is, funny enough, came with a hot take not about hate. So shout out that nigga for sure. Demon Slayer, he said Demon Slayer is a top blank or a top new gen, like it or not. The anime adaptation elevates the show to that level. So I can't speak for the Demon Slayer manga because I never read it, but from what I've seen with Demon Slayer, I do agree. Like, just looking at, I haven't really started season 2, so don't get on me too much, but I'm looking at season 1 and looking at the movie, I'd say the show was really, really good. Like, I know when Demon Slayer was in its peak on Twitter and shit, people kind of saying it gets carried by its animation, and I'm not gonna lie, Demon Slayer animation is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, put it up against Prime Beyonce, Rihanna. That I'm picking Demon Slayer season 1 over that shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the water in Demon Slayer, I say it all the time. I've never seen water in my life that looks as good as the Demon Slayer water. So like, I mean, if you're gonna say animation and Demon Slayer is amazing, like, there's no arguments here. But I think people kind of underrate the story part of Demon Slayer. And I have heard that the manga kind of ends badly and stuff. I can't really speak too much towards that, but from what I have seen in Demon Slayer, I would say that, you know, throwing in the animation, throwing in the artwork, throwing in the music, like, it is a top tier anime adaptation. And I think I do agree that it kind of puts it at that level. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, these hot takes are kind of spinning right now. I do agree with CJ for real. Shout out, I guess he's going by Dirty Dan on this Discord. He has a lot of hot takes that are interesting. I'm gonna go over a couple of ones he has and I'll make them quick, but some of the hot takes he has are, he says Demon Slayer animation is not as great as people say. People simply get blinded by colors and flashy lights. So, you know, that's a contrast from exactly what CJ said, basically last take. Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with him. I think what Gius is kind of saying is that people get lost in the sauce of how beautiful the artwork and I guess beautiful the animation looks, which I can see. I guess I can understand what he's saying, but I don't know. I would like to know what Dirty Dan thinks great animation is, because I think when it comes to new gen animation, Demon Slayer is like some of the best that we've ever gotten. And I've even heard and seen some scenes from season 2 that is even better than season 1. So it's like, if you don't think Demon Slayer animation is amazing, what is Demon Slayer missing animation wise for you not to think it's as great as people say, kind of thing. So yeah, there's that. Another take he has that I actually do agree with is that he says hyping up a show before its release will always lead to people turning on it by the slightest inconvenience. Just kind of overrating, I guess, in that aspect. I'm trying to give a good example. You could even say Demon Slayer. Like when people were hyping Demon Slayer like crazy, the moment the manga didn't end the way they wanted to, niggas slandered it. Attack on Titan, I haven't watched or read Attack on Titan, but I do know the reception of how Attack on Titan was viewed before the ending and after the ending. People loved Attack on Titan. Once the manga ended, people were slandering it. They were like, oh, Attack on Titan has one of the worst endings ever. Like, people really got on it, and it's kind of wild because it's like sometimes the anime community builds things up to knock it back down. So it's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I do kind of agree with that. And then he says, I'm gonna go through these last two. One, he says Vinland Saga season 2 is the best anime airing currently. So I think with that, I wouldn't really agree with that so much, because I don't know. I think the Vinland Saga season 2 was interesting in the sense of it's not. I think it's not what people were expecting coming off of season 1, like me included. Like when I finished season 1, I was like, okay, this shit is peak. I'm gonna get into it. And jumping into season 2, obviously we had some stuff with we obviously had Thorfinn, and he had his whole thing. We were introduced to a new character and things like that. But it was kind of slower than we were expecting. A lot of people didn't I guess people might not have foresaw Thorfinn being his, for lack of a better word, chopless as he ended up being. Shout out Dirty Dan, because this thing is coming with a lot of hot takes. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a funny one I'm just gonna go over real quick. And he's basically saying, I don't believe people that claim to be hyped for new Boruto or Black Clover chapters. That shit is funny, I'm not gonna lie, because shout out my brother, he always hits me up about Boruto chapters and saying the shit's lit. Black Clover, he says that shit's lit. Shout out him, but it's just funny because it's like there's no way Black Clover is always lit. Like every time he's talking about Black Clover, it's lit. And even the Boruto, like when I don't read Boruto anymore. When that whole news drop about what happened with Kawaki and Boruto and how they kind of swap places or whatever, like niggas were acting like this shit was the best thing since sliced bread. They were acting like the one plot twist made up for everything we had prior to it, and I kind of disagree with it. So it is funny seeing like people like out of nowhere getting hyped for Boruto and Black Clover, and it's like, are you really hyped about this shit? Like, do you really care? Because I don't think you really care. So that is funny. I do kind of agree with that, but it is interesting. I mean, like, are there actual like Black Clover and Boruto like fans, not stans, because I think you can find stans of anything, like nigga stan, I don't know, Astro Boy or something, I don't know, Popeye, some random shit. Like there's always like niches in series and stuff. But I wonder if there are people that like, oh, they just sit and are not super stans of a series of Black Clover or Boruto and just kind of enjoy it. So that is, I think, kind of funny to me at least. Ooh, this is a good one. So shout out leopard, which I haven't read the series or whatever, but yeah, he says Oda is not great at writing long story arcs like most people say. Dressrosa and Wano are just such a mixed bag, even though they have really high points. And I'm gonna keep it a bean, that nigga is spitting. Like, I love Wano and I love Dressrosa, and I think at their peaks they are amazing. But kind of what he's saying, like when you look at Dressrosa and Wano, I think a lot of people can agree that there are big chunks of the arc that it's like, why did we need this, right? Like the Totentadas and Dressrosa, like did we need that stuff? Like looking at the Wano stuff, there was a lot of episodes where it's just like, this shit, it might have even been important, but it just didn't need to be as long as it was. And when I think look at like me specifically, when I remember Wano, I only remember certain things. Like obviously Udon Prison, I'm gonna remember that. The Yonko clashes, I'm gonna obviously remember that. Like the rooftop, anything rooftop related, I'm gonna remember that. When they fought King versus, you know, when they fought King, when they fought Queen. Like there are things that I'm gonna remember, but a lot of the other fluff in the big arcs of Wano and Dressrosa, I'm not gonna remember. And I think like when you're talking about writing a big arc, an important thing with writing a big arc is that in totality, the arc has to be amazing. And I think when looking at that, Oda, he doesn't do the best job at making sure the entire arc is great from start to finish. I think there are drogs in Dressrosa and Wano, specifically the anime. And there are drogs in Dressrosa and Wano, specifically with the anime too, where it's like, damn, this is kind of fluff. Like for Dressrosa especially, it got really bad. Like if you know about One Piece, that was something that people were bringing up in the Dressrosa area or arc, because it's like a lot of this shit is not important. We could probably skim through this. Like you just see how much, even like especially with the anime, a lot of it was like you had reruns, you got the cuts, the long intro, which is like, okay, I don't even know if you can count that as a reason why it's not the best, but I think that those arcs are a mixed bag. And although I do think that overall those are arguably two of his best arcs, it's hard for them to kind of get the #1 spot or to be like these all-time shonen arcs because of how much drog and how much like fluff and other parts that aren't as good, basically. So yeah, I do agree with Leopard, basically. Shout out Dirty Dan again, coming with another hot take. And he says influence is not a great argument when discussing quality. Nostalgia is cool and all, but people should be open for more. People should be open for new experiences. Shout out Jesus, obviously, because that nigga's spitting per usual. I've always agreed with this, right? So I'm a big proponent on people viewing some things with nostalgic, you know, colored glasses or whatnot. I love Dragon Ball Z growing up. I always use this as an example because everyone knows Dragon Ball Z. Like it's one of the most popular things of all time, right? Just in general. But when you look at Dragon Ball Z as an entity, like a lot of people just give it this like, oh, it's a top 5 or top 1 anime/manga of all time, and I'm just like, yo, there's no way. Like when we're talking about quality, it's like people will use the excuse or use the reasoning of like, oh, look at what it influenced and stuff like that. Like that shit does not matter to me, I'm not gonna lie. Like that shit was cute for what you did, whatever you did in that time, that shit was cute. But we're talking about how good your shit is, like how good the plot, the characters, how good all that stuff is. Influence has nothing to do with it. Like I do agree with that completely. And it is tough, I think, for anime fans especially. Sometimes people aren't as open for new experiences. Like, shout out Boruto. I'm not saying Boruto is good. That shit is not good. Don't get me wrong. But I think, for instance, Boruto is an example of like people weren't really trying to give it a chance because they were like, oh, he's not like Naruto. Like, people are like, oh, he's not like Naruto, like blah blah blah. And obviously Boruto ended up not being good. But a lot of times it seems like there's certain things that characters or, you know, I say creators can't do. Like even if Boruto was good, even if Boruto was better than Naruto, even if and for some weird alternate reality we were in a place where Boruto was a better overall series than Naruto, the overall public would not have ever given it that kind of credit, just because it's like, yo, niggas would be like, yeah, people would always compare it to not even just Naruto, they would compare it to what they view Naruto as, and it's just not the same. Kind of similar to how Rock Lee versus Gaara is looked up as like this amazing fight in Naruto, which it is, but it's not even like a top 3 Naruto fight, right? But no matter what Naruto fights we got after that, a lot of people can't put it past Gaara versus Rock Lee just because of the nostalgia that they had when watching it and whatnot. Like that moment when obviously Rock Lee dropped his weights, that shit was hard. We all know that shit was hard, but it's like those moments, it's kind of a thing where they basically have the show as better than it actually ever was. Like if you go back and look at it now, if they change up the names and shit, you would not think it's as good as you do think it is now. So for sure, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Shout out Panda 000, that's one of the goats too. He says TV shows are just as good as anime, and I don't even think this is a hot take for, like, I think that he's actually spitting with this too, because anime is an interesting thing because there's a lot of genres in anime, and because of that we get a lot of peak, like we get anime/manga. We have like Berserk, Full Metal Alchemist, One Piece, Naruto. You can Attack on Titan. You can really name a bunch of stuff, right? But you got to remember that I think anime and manga, a lot of times there's a lot of issues with them that sometimes TV shows don't have. Like a lot of the peak, you know, GOAT TV shows, where you're talking about Breaking Bad, for instance, a lot of those shows don't end badly. And I think you got to peep that anime usually end badly. For the most part, there are not a lot of anime or manga that have, you know, great undisputed endings. And I think TV shows usually end pretty well for the most part. Like, I think Game of Thrones is a show that I know didn't end well, and that shit gets clowned for it. But anime, it's I think it's a little bit of a leeway where it's like, yo, we kind of expect most anime slash manga to not end great. So there's that. That's an avenue of it too. I think just in general, like TV shows, I feel like recently TV shows have been kind of hitting like just as hard as anime have. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't seen too many TV shows, to be honest. I know, like, I was watching Invincible, that was pretty good. The Boys was really good before the third season. I like the third season, but a lot of people didn't like the third season. But I'd say just in general, like, TV shows at their best can hang with anime at their best. So I do agree with that. Although I obviously like anime a lot more, anime channel and whatnot. But yeah, when they're firing at all cylinders, TV shows can definitely hang with anime. Ooh, this is a crazy hot take. Dirty Dan says not every manga should get an anime. I think this is a really interesting take. I actually want to make a video on this soon, where I think anime, we see with a lot of shows that a great anime can do a lot for a series in general. Like when you look at Promised Neverland, for instance, it lost all its hype because the season 2, it wasn't animated right. Like, there was a lot of issues with the season 2 anime, and because of that, its quality overall is not as good. Like looking at Demon Slayer's anime was so amazing, and because of that, Demon Slayer got so much more growth. Like, the reason why I would disagree with his take is that I think a really great manga or a really great anime adaptation can do wonders for a manga in the popularity department. Like, you could just kind of see, I'm trying to think of a great example, like Demon Slayer, kind of to my point. Demon Slayer getting an amazing anime with the animation and all that makes just the Demon Slayer tagline just more popular. More people care about that shit because of it. Like, that kind of thing. Tokyo Revengers, the manga didn't end the best, right? So because of that, when the anime came back, no one cares about it anymore. Like, I think when just looking at the manga and the anime, I think that every great manga, in my opinion, should get a great anime, because I just think that it does so much for just the quality of it and just keeping it ongoing. So I don't know. I am curious on why you think not every manga should get a great anime. I guess to play devil's advocate, take you can kind of have is that sometimes there are certain things in manga that can't be replicated in anime, like animation style and whatnot. I know a lot of people talk about JJK and they say that the JJK manga artwork isn't properly translated one-to-one to the anime, and that's like a whole thing with that. So I don't know, maybe that might be your argument, but I think that every great manga probably could get a great anime. So yeah, there's definitely that. Shout out Dirty Dan, because he actually had a lot of hot takes for me, like, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out Dirty Dan, and shout out everyone who came through for the hot takes, because, you know what I'm saying, this was really cool. This is the last hot take I'll probably go over. The hot take is that Ichigo is far more bearable as an MC than Naruto or Luffy. Yeah, it's actually funny, because this is not that hot of a take to me, but it is funny because I think Bleach is of the three is the least popular. Given, I mean, they're big three for a reason, so they're all super popular. But when comparing it to Naruto and One Piece, they're definitely less popular than, you know, those two. But it's funny because a lot of people do not like the Naruto slash Luffy slash Goku archetype of main character, and Ichigo's not like that. So it is funny that a lot of people that don't like the way Naruto and Luffy are don't watch or read Bleach. You know, shout out to some people that I know. So that is funny. I do think that when just given, like, so if you want to talk about like a more mature series, like Ichigo is definitely he's definitely less annoying overall than Luffy and Naruto. And I do love those guys. Like, shout out Naruto, shout out Bleach, shout out Naruto, shout out One Piece. I love those series, and I love Luffy and Naruto obviously, but Ichigo just in general, like, I think he's a character that most people can kind of resound with or kind of resonate with. Ichigo is a lot more chill and mellow. He's a lot more like normal niggas. Like, not every nigga is on some, like, I'ma yell believe it and be the Hokage like every 2 seconds. Not every nigga's like that. Some niggas are just chill and trying to, you know, take care of whatever they're trying to take care of. Some niggas are the oldest and they have 2 sisters they gotta take care of, and like they just want to protect their friends. Like, that's all they want to do. And yeah, Ichigo is definitely more, I'd say, more chill and more bearable. Like, if you don't like the shonen aspect of things and don't like characters that are kind of annoying or like loud and stuff, like, Ichigo is chill. Ichigo will never annoy you in that sense. Although Ichigo does have his own like problems as well. I think he cries a lot too, which can get a little annoying from time to time. But overall, I'd say of the three, Ichigo's a lot more bearable than Naruto and Luffy. Thanks for everyone who came in with their hot takes. I try to get everyone's hot take at least one or two. You know, try to give everyone the shine thing they kind of deserved and whatnot. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the hot takes. I think a lot of these hot takes can kind of be argued They're hot takes for a reason. I gave you guys my thoughts on these takes, but I do want to know your takes. So let me know what you guys think about all these hot takes in the comments down below. But that's it. So I'm out. Peace.